So two major developments since Israeli terrorists showed utter contempt to rule-based international order and dropped American bombs on the sovereign country of Qatar. First, war criminal Benjamin Netanyahu has said in no uncertain terms that Donald Trump was literally irrelevant when it comes to showcasing Israeli barbarism, Israeli terrorism across the Middle East. And the second development is about the new strategy adopted by the Houthis to overwhelm Israeli security apparatus in days to come. Let's look at these 2 points in greater detail. Remember what Trump said in the aftermath of the Israeli attack on Qatar? First, the White House press secretary read out a message admitting that Netanyahu had informed Trump before attacking Qatar, an important ally of the US. Caroline Leavitt also said that Israelis would not be allowed to bomb Qatar again.
President Trump immediately directed Special Envoy Witkoff to inform the Qataris of the impending attack, which he did. The president views Qatar as a strong ally and friend of the United States and feels very badly about the location of this attack. President Trump wants all of the hostages in Gaza and the bodies of the dead released, and this war to end now. President Trump also spoke to Prime Minister Netanyahu after the attack. The Prime Minister told President Trump that he wants to make peace, and quickly. President Trump believes this unfortunate incident could serve as an opportunity for peace. The president also spoke to the Emir and Prime Minister of Qatar and thanked them for their support and friendship to our country. He assured them that such a thing will not happen again on their soil.
However, when Trump realized that this had a potential to severely strain the US-Qatar diplomatic ties and could even endanger the future of the American military base in this Gulf country, he issued a video statement expressing his displeasure at the Israeli action.
Well, I'm not thrilled. I'm not thrilled about it. I don't have to do that. I'm not thrilled about the whole situation. I'll be giving a full statement tomorrow, but I would tell you this. I was very unhappy about it, very unhappy about every aspect, and we got to get the hostages back.
As I told you in my earlier video, the Israeli ambassador was quick to snub the White House as he told Fox News that Israelis would attack the Hamas leadership in Qatar once again.
If we didn't get them this time, we'll get them the next time. Israel under Prime Minister Netanyahu is changing the face of the Middle East.
And if you thought that this was the statement made in isolation by a diplomat, I'm going to tell you that Netanyahu has said exactly that. Even this dreaded terrorist has said it without any ambiguity that he simply doesn't care about what Trump says. He would bomb Qatar again. You have to really admire this dreaded terrorist audacity. First, he said that the world should applaud his savagery and disdain to international law. Then he says this, and I quote, "I say to Qatar and all nations who harbor terrorists, you either expel them or you bring them to justice, because if you don't, we will." End quote. Now I want you to look at these comments in light of the first statement from the White House saying that Israel wouldn't be allowed to attack Qatar again. Do you still have any doubt as to who the real boss is? It's definitely not Trump, who has emerged as such a weak US president. Is this how his MAGA support base wanted their president to be perceived globally? A war criminal from an illegal and tiny settler colony has openly made a mockery of someone who, on paper at least, is expected to be the most powerful person on this planet. Now, the Qatari Prime Minister has reacted to Netanyahu's threat, but who can sympathize with these sellout Arabs? What were they thinking? What were they expecting when they mortgaged their self-respect to Zionists and Americans?
Well, we don't accept, first of all, such a threat coming from someone like Netanyahu, and he's calling about bring them to justice. He needs to be brought to justice. He's the one who's wanted to the ICC. That's number one. So I think that someone like him trying to lecture the world about the law, he's breaking every law. He broke every international law. He's starving people in Gaza. He's doing all these rogue actions in the entire region. What's next? What's next for him?
You've described him as a narcissist. What do you mean by that?
Well, I have no other explanation, because the act itself, I mean, the significance of this act, there is no human mind can just absorb it. You know, we were thinking that we are dealing with civilized people. That's the way we are dealing with others. And the action that he took, it's very, I cannot describe it, but it's a barbaric action.
These Arab slaves should learn from Iran and even the Houthis. Both Iran and Ansarullah fighters from Yemen have chosen to teach Israeli terrorists a lesson instead of trying to act as their slaves. We all saw how Iran almost annihilated the settler colony despite having no air power. And there isn't a single day that goes by without the Houthis or Ansarullah fighters terrorizing the real terrorists from Israel. Just today, the Houthis fired more hypersonic missiles into Israel, sending shockwaves across the settler colony. This is what their military spokesperson Yahya Sari had to say in a statement.
بيان صادر عن القوات المسلحة اليمنية بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. قال تعالى: يا أيها الذين آمنوا إن تنصروا الله ينصركم ويثبت أقدامكم. صدق الله العظيم. انتصارا لمظلومية الشعب الفلسطيني ومجاهديه الأعزاء، وردا على جرائم الإبادة الجماعية وجرائم التجويع التي يقترفها العدو الصهيوني بحق إخواننا في قطاع غزة. وفي إطار الرد على العدوان الإسرائيلي على بلدنا، نفذت القوة الصاروخية في القوات المسلحة اليمنية عملية عسكرية نوعية استهدفت هدفا عسكريا للعدو الإسرائيلي في منطقة النقب المحتلة، وذلك بصاروخ باليستي فرط صوتي نوع فلسطين 2. وقد حققت العملية هدفها بنجاح بفضل الله، وتسببت في هروب الملايين من قطعان الصهاينة الغاصبين إلى الملاجئ. ونفذ سلاح الجو المسير في القوات المسلحة اليمنية عملية عسكرية نوعية ب3 طائرات مسيرة، استهدفت طائرتان منها ما يسمى بمطار رامون بمنطقة أم الرشراش، فيما استهدفت الأخرى هدفا عسكريا للعدو الإسرائيلي في منطقة النقب بفلسطين المحتلة. وقد حققت العملية أهدافها بنجاح بفضل الله، بعون الله تعالى وبالاعتماد عليه وبالتوكل عليه. يستطيع اليمن الحر المستقل مواجهة العدو الصهيوني والرد على عدوانه السافر الغاشم على بلدنا، بالإضافة إلى استمراره في أداء الواجب الديني والأخلاقي والإنساني تجاه الشعب الفلسطيني المظلوم.
How significant this spirited fight back from the Houthis can be gauged from the fact that Israeli terrorists murdered their prime minister and the entire cabinet only a few days ago. The same terrorists dropped American bombs yesterday to kill dozens of civilians and burn their residential buildings. And yet, this hasn't dampened the spirit of Ansarullah fighters. As I speak, the Houthis have begun loading cluster bombs on their ballistic and hypersonic missiles. Their plan is to overwhelm the Israeli population, as they have made it clear that nothing is off limit for them now. No wonder Netanyahu is scurrying for shelter, as he has restricted his movement in public. So don't be surprised if you come across more bad news from Israel as a result of some more setbacks caused by the Houthis. What Iran and the Houthis have shown is that courage doesn't come from the amount of money you have at your disposal, or how many high-rises you have built, or your ability to provide blood money to an American extortionist to buy your safety. Courage comes from your conviction in your own values and what you stand for. The Gulf states may be rich, but their rulers can never match the dignity of the Iranians or even the Houthis. That's it from me. Thank you very much for your support of this platform and our journalism on buymeacoffee.com and Patreon. If you too think that our journalism is worth supporting, then you too should consider becoming part of it. Details are there in the description of this video. In the meantime, if you haven't subscribed to my channel, please do so, because that's one of the many ways you can support independent journalism. God bless you all.